Hello, everybody, and welcome to the All-State Sugar Bowl's 2022 New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame and Annual Awards Sports Show. I'm Ken Berthelot with the New Orleans Sports Award Committee. Each year, we recognize amazing performances by athletes from around the New Orleans area, the state of Louisiana, and induct a Hall of Fame class. We thank the All-State Sugar Bowl for its sponsorship and support of this event, now in its 6th decade under the umbrella of the Sugar Bowl. In this one-hour recap of the event, we will honor 27 individuals and 4 teams in what is a challenging process to arrive at the eventual winners. Let's begin with the athletes who each had a great individual month from June 2021 to May 2022. For Summer 21, we honor Raven Nunnery John Curtis, baseball specialist William Good and Christian Westcott, and Brian Jenkins of Pearl River. In Fall Winter, Dejon Dixon of Nicholls State, Dominicans Kate Baker, Kyle Cannon of St. Charles Catholic, and Derek St. Hilaire of UNO. For Spring 2022, Kelsey Major, also of Dominican, Ponchatoula's Jaylee Womack, Miles Burns of Loyola, Tristan Baugh of Hannon, and Ismail Cohn of UNO. Congratulations to these outstanding athletes of the month for 2021-22. Check out the All-State Sugar Bowl website for info on all their accomplishments. In addition to the bowl game, this year on New Year's Eve in New Orleans, the All-State Sugar Bowl sponsors a wide range of sporting events and provides significant scholarship money to deserving student athletes from the area. Earlier this year, the Sugar Bowl presented scholarship checks to a talented group of young high school football players. At this event, the committee honored for their hard work in sports, academics, and community women in sports scholarships to Northlake Christian's Sarah Amaker, Cabrini's Sophie Brotman, Ursuline's Isabel Faray, Slidell's Kaylin Hardrick, and Dominican's Kelsey Major. For more information on all these honorees, please visit the All-State Sugar Bowl's website. Up next are the awards presented annually for the 2021-22 academic year. Let's begin with the Greater New Orleans Area Prep Coaches of the Year, Archbishop Hannon softball coach Becky Lambert and St. Charles Catholic football coach Wayne Stein. Coach Becky Lambert led Archbishop Hannon to its 3rd straight softball state championship. As a number 2 seed in the state's Division II tournament, Hannon cruised through the first 2 rounds with easy wins and held off 3rd-seeded Vanderbilt Catholic 3-2 in the semifinals. Then junior pitcher Tristan Baugh, battling through a sore knee and not having pitched back-to-back games since March, returned to the mound for the championship game and tossed a no-hitter to lead the Hawks to the title over Haynes. After the win, Coach Lambert said, "I'm proud of these kids because we never got into our spots until the end of the season. We lost 5 players from last year's team and we battled some key injuries, but we were battle-tested all season and it paid off." Well said, Coach. The Hawks finished 19-11 and upended the Yellow Jackets in a rematch of last year's state championship game, also won by Hannon. At St. Charles Catholic in Laplace, Wayne Stein had the unenviable task of replacing a legend in Frank Monica. But Stein did it against all odds, winning the football state title, then coaching baseball to a state championship too, all while fighting through total devastation from the eye of Hurricane Ida that almost wiped Laplace and St. Charles Catholic off the map. But the devastation and the gutted homes galvanized the city, the school, and 2 athletic programs that pulled together to bring state championships to a community that needed a lift. Football won it with defense, not allowing a point in 7 of the first 9 games. Then 2 blocked punts and 3 key field goals secured a 32-27 Division III state championship over Lafayette Christian. Riding that wave of enthusiasm, Stein coached baseball to their state championship title. 1 coach, 2 teams, 2 state titles, and a gift from Wayne Stein that showed a community how to bounce back from adversity. The All-State Sugar Bowl's outstanding prep boys and girls coaches of the year in the Greater New Orleans area are St. Charles Catholic's Wayne Stein and Archbishop Hannon's Becky Lambert. We move on to our New Orleans Prep Teams of the Year, Ponchatoula Girls Basketball and the Brother Martin Crusaders Bowling Team. Since last year, after an undefeated loss in the semifinals, the Ponchatoula girls have been on a mission, which culminated when the Green Wave rolled into the 2022 state tournament and blew past their first four opponents by an average of 29 points. Ponchatoula was 34-2 entering the state championship game, but the two bothered them because their opponent, Parkway, handed them one of those two losses. Payback was in order with the state title on the line. 5'10" guard Jaylee Womack led the Green Wave all season, averaging just under 28 a game, but she was having a rare off night. Taylor Jackson added 24, and then Womack snapped out of it. With 3 seconds remaining in regulation, Jaylee nailed a tying three-pointer to send it to overtime, where she hit the game-winning shot with 16 seconds left for an 80-79 victory. Womack finished with 32, bringing her senior year total to 1,030 points and making the 35-2 finish one of the best ever at Ponchatoula and the best in the state this year. In Gentilly, the Brother Martin Crusaders bowling team was also pulling off a thrilling state championship win, defeating Catholic High Baton Rouge. Catholic built a 150-pin lead in the final game and were poised to grab the title and end a dynasty. But a furious Brother Martin rally produced a pair of individual wins, each by just 1 pin, and those 2 pins made the difference in a state championship victory for the Crusaders, closing out a perfect 17-0 season. It was the 6th state championship and the 4th in a row for a senior class that never lost one. Senior Dylan McDonald led Brother Martin with a school record 225.5 average, the second highest in the state and one of only 5 bowlers to average over 200 this year. Junior Jacob Van Gilder was named the outstanding bowler of the championship match. The All-State Sugar Bowl's outstanding prep boys and girls teams of the year in the greater New Orleans area are the Brother Martin bowling team and the Ponchatoula girls basketball team. A very rare occurrence. Our 2 New Orleans area amateur athletes of the year, Loyola basketball's Zach Reitzel and LSU hurdler Aaliyah Armstrong, are double winners. So their video will be shown later as the Corbett Award winners for also being named outstanding amateur athletes in the state of Louisiana. Congratulations, Zach and Aaliyah. Our next honoree is the outstanding college coach in Louisiana for 2021-22, the man who led Loyola to the NAIA National Championship, Stacy Hollowell. Over 3/4 of a century ago in 1945, as World War II ended, Loyola New Orleans won a basketball national championship. It would be 77 years before it would happen again. That's when Stacy Hollowell, who learned the game playing for Coach Johnny Vitrano at Fontainebleau High in Mandeville, put together a team that was real good on both sides of the ball, leading the nation in scoring and in steals. Loyola blew through their regular season to a 37-1 record, winning both the Southern States Athletics Conference regular season and tournament. Then in the national tournament, they crushed 6 opponents by a blistering average of 20 points a game, including a national championship 71-56 blowout victory over number 2 Talladega. The 37 wins were the most in Loyola history. Hollowell's challenge was not only to beat the opposition, he had to beat all odds. Last season was anything but normal as Hurricane Ida ripped off a section of the Loyola Sports Complex roof and damaged the team's home court. Somehow, Hollowell kept this team together through the challenges of practicing in Dallas before playing early season home games at Tulane. There was travel to various practice facilities around the area, COVID-19, a tornado scare at Stillman, and food poisoning-like symptoms while in Kansas City. Still, Hallowell kept this team focused all the way to a national championship and the NAIA National Coach of the Year honors. Something so sensational that being named NAIA National Coach of the Year just didn't seem to be enough. So make it a triple-double for Stacy Hallowell and add 2 more National Coach of the Year honors, the NABC and the Don Meyer NAIA National Coach of the Year Awards also. Congratulations to the All-State Sugar Bowl's Louisiana Coach of the Year for 2022, the Loyola Wolfpack's Stacy Hallowell. In 1957, Jimmy Collins began what has evolved into our present-day event and its association with the Sugar Bowl. The Collins Award is for those who do not fit into a specific category but deserve recognition. Loyola men's basketball and St. Charles Catholic athletics turned the adversity of Hurricane Ida into the pinnacles of success. While this year's Jimmy Collins Award winners achieved tremendous success in the field of athletics, they are being recognized for their perseverance in overcoming challenges presented by Hurricane Ida to reach those levels of achievement. It was late August 2021 when the eye of Hurricane Ida scored a direct hit just west of New Orleans, almost wiping Laplace, Louisiana, and St. Charles Catholic High School off the map. In the devastation that followed, to field any athletics team for 2021-22 would have been a success. To win championships, a miracle. And the Comets did just that. While the school's athletes spent most of their time rebuilding houses and salvaging belongings, they found escape in competition. Using a stout defense, the Comet football team went undefeated with 7 shutouts and advanced to the state finals. In that LHSAA Division III state championship game, they brought the magical season to a close with a thrilling 32-27 victory over top-seeded Lafayette Christian. And that wasn't all for the Comets, as they made another state championship run, winning the baseball state title, and almost won more as the softball team advanced to the state championship game. Well done, Comets. Meanwhile, around the state, Ida impacted others too, including New Orleans, where the storm ripped through the roof of the Loyola University Sports Complex. The facility, which includes the Den, that's the basketball team's home arena, suffered severe damage to the gym floor, surrounding offices, locker rooms, and the training room. The team was forced to practice at gyms all around the city, including Tulane, Xavier, and Delgado, and they often practiced at 6 a.m. to avoid already scheduled events at those facilities. And just like St. Charles Catholic, the Wolfpack overcame adversity and didn't only win games. The Wolfpack went 31-1 to win the NAIA National Championship, the first national title for Loyola basketball since 1945. St. Charles Catholic High School and the Loyola men's basketball program, the 2022 Jimmy Collins Award honorees after overcoming tremendous adversity to achieve tremendous success. A great story. The Eddie Robinson Award honors the legendary football coach from Grambling State University and recognizes someone who, like Coach Rob, maximizes the use of limited resources to achieve tremendous success. This year's honoree is former Dillard track coach Ronald Hindu Henderson.
When Ronald Henderson left Chicago to run track at Dillard University, he did the impossible, winning the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference Championship in the 100, 200, and 440-yard dashes. He knew how to inspire Ronald Henderson to greatness. The Dillard administration must have recognized his ability to inspire others, and in 1965 named Henderson the school's track coach. Hindu kept it simple, developed competitive athletes with an emphasis on relays. He soon extended his work to L.B. Landry High School, where in one 4-year stretch, his teams won 26 relay events. He worked at the Dry Street YMCA developing outstanding summer track programs, helping any kid who wanted to excel. He convinced the New Orleans Recreation Department and the Southern AAU programs to allow black athletes to participate in local, regional, and national events to compete against the best. Ronald Henderson's legacy is that he developed champions. Like All-State Sugar Bowl Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Thomas Hill, a Cohen High and Arkansas State University graduate who went on to win an Olympic medal in the 110-meter high hurdles at the 1972 Summer Olympic Games.
Ronald Henderson is one of a kind. He is unique in his own way. He is one who believes in you. He's a salesman from the heart. He can sell ice to an Eskimo. He's one who can get another person to believe that whatever their potential is, that they can reach it.
Ronald Henderson was awarded the Dillard University Billy Ray Hobley Legacy Award for making a difference in the lives of others. Fittingly, Henderson and Hobley are both honored this evening. In the spirit of what the great coach Eddie Robinson represented during his lifetime at Grambling State University, accomplishing so much despite oftentimes minus an abundance of resources, the All-State Sugar Bowl's 2022 recipient of the Eddie Robinson Award, Ronald Hindu Henderson.
Hindu was at the event, 87 years old, and was looking good. It's Hall of Fame time. The All-State Sugar Bowl's Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame was created in 1971 and has honored 245 athletes who were born in New Orleans and achieved prominence in or away from the area, or non-natives who achieve sports prominence in New Orleans. The class of 2022 includes 6 outstanding individuals. Our first Hall of Fame inductee is softball pitching phenom Ashley Brignac. When John Curtis High School softball coach Christy Hebert moved her young shortstop to the pitcher's circle in 2004, she started Ashley Brignac on an incredible run to greatness. Ashley posted 122 wins, only 4 losses, and won 4 consecutive state championships. She struck out 71% of the 2,037 batters faced. As a senior, Ashley was 25-0 with 421 strikeouts and only 14 hits in 160 innings, with 21 no-hitters and 7 perfect games. At the plate, Ashley hit .500 with 6 home runs. She could hit, but hitting against her was menacing.
As coaches, we would always think, how hard is it for those girls that's behind her that's going to have to make that one play? You may only have to make 3 outs a game, 1 out. You know, we were ready for that.
The 2-time All-American and Louisiana Gatorade Player of the Year was named National Gatorade Player of the Year as a senior in '07. She led the USA Softball Junior Women's National Team to the 2006 Pan Am Championship and the 2007 World Championship gold medal. Though heavily recruited, Ashley chose the University of Louisiana Lafayette because it felt like home. Her impact was immediate. As a freshman, Ashley pitched 13 shutouts, 3 no-hitters, and 1 perfect game on her way to a 31-7 record and Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year honors, the first of 3 such awards. The Ragin' Cajuns advanced to the Women's College World Series, and Brignac struck out 15 in a 3-2 upset over #1 ranked Florida. UL finished 5th nationally as Coach Hebert and sports writer Dan McDonnell watched in amazement.
She would mow them down, and a lot of times if somebody just ticked the ball a little bit, I mean, you could see her look in her face that she did not want anybody having anything to do with touching the ball. Made her more determined.
She literally willed her team to victory, not just because of her pitching. It was because of her mentality, of her character, and that made her a dominant force, not just at UL, but across the South.
UL was 201-45 in her tenure, with Ashley accounting for 94 of those wins, all while battling injuries, which included missing an entire season with a torn labrum in her pitching shoulder. After surgery and 8 anchors in her arm, Ashley developed a new arm, a rising fastball, her jam pitch, and she perfected a drop curve screwball and mastered placement on her way to a 23-4 record as a senior.
After she got hurt, she became a pitcher. She didn't have the dominant fastball. She didn't throw it just by people. She had to learn how to pitch, and she became probably an even better pitcher when she was able to do that.
Let's welcome to the All-State Sugar Bowls, Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2022, Ashley Brignac.
While you're doing this, do you realize this?
Not really. I was just, competing and going after. It just wasn't until later on in my years, especially when my sister was playing, that I started realizing something I did was probably not normal.
Not normal, yeah.
I'm super humbled by this, and to be able to talk about something, especially being the people in the lives that were there during the career, that had a big part of the career, people who came during the career and after, to be able to celebrate here, I'm very excited about that. My parents were here, and I'm very thankful for softball. I got to take me to a college where I got to meet my husband there, who is a Lafayette native, and now we have 2 beautiful little boys. They're at home tonight, and so I'm very thankful for the people on the journey, because without them, I play a team sport, and the team isn't just people on the field. So I am a chiropractor now. I own a clinic here in New Orleans, and what's really cool is I'm getting back into the softball arena, and because of my shoulder injury, I have a passion for helping softball athletes and their shoulders. And so recently I started getting back into the community, and coming in the fall and near next year, I'm really going to be able to marry both my doctorate degree and being a chiropractor and being able to treat them along with my pitching knowledge and my history of surgery. And so I'm going to combine all 3. Dr. Sherry here, she's a research expert, and she's researched a lot of pitchers, and so being able to take her knowledge as well and create something where athletes can come get treatment, get pitching knowledge, get research, and get exercise all in one location, and being able to serve them at a higher level.
Ashley's jersey number 00 was her junior and senior year ERA at John Curtis. Our next Hall of Fame inductee is New Orleans Saints wide receiver great Marcus Colston.
Marcus Colston arrived in New Orleans as a 7th-round draft choice of the New Orleans Saints in 2006, the 252nd player selected overall. Realistic expectations for such a low draft pick are usually measured in weeks. Instead, Colston's tenure was measured in years, records, and a Super Bowl championship. Colston played his entire 10-year NFL career with the Saints, and at the time of this induction, he is the franchise's all-time leader in receiving yards, yards from scrimmage, receiving touchdowns, and total receptions. Looking back, the NFL was Colston's dream, but playing in New Orleans, well, maybe not. You see, the Saints were coming off a 3-13 season in a city ravaged by Hurricane Katrina, and the Saints were guided by a 42-year-old rookie head coach in Sean Payton. Colston thought a better situation might await him as a free agent, but many scouts pegged the Hofstra University wideout as not having the speed to excel at receiver or the strength to play tight end. So after much consideration, Colston signed with the Saints, worked extremely hard, and it wasn't long before Marcus made his mark in the NFL. So much so that the Saints traded away starting receiver Dante Stallworth late in the preseason.
The trust factor that Drew had in Marcus, because of he just knew what Marcus was going to do all the time, and that relationship built and evolved as training camp proceeded. And by the time it got to the season, Drew just had such a trust factor in him that the 2 of them really took off with it.
Marcus filled the gap using his 6'4", 225-pound frame with great hands and enough good speed to wreak havoc on defensive backs.
One-on-one was like one on none, because you knew if you put the ball in his area, he had great range and he was going to go get it, and he wasn't going to be afraid to make the contested catches where there was, defenders around him or closing in on him.
Sean Payton said Colston's catch radius was phenomenal, and his catch rate was even better. And in his first regular season game, Colston caught a 12-yard pass from Drew Brees for the game's only touchdown in a 19-14 win over Cleveland. Colston would catch 71 more touchdowns from Brees, making the pair the 6th most prolific duo in touchdown passes in NFL history. The Saints advanced to the NFC Championship game, and Colston earned all rookie honors with 70 catches for 1,038 yards and 8 touchdowns. Colston would finish his career with 6 1,000-yard seasons and 28 100-yard receiving games, both franchise records. Colston caught 7 passes for 83 yards, and the Saints win 31-17 over Indianapolis in Super Bowl 44.
He was just such a great role model for all the guys coming in, and such a leader in that wide receiver room that they saw the way he worked, the way he prepared himself. And I think that grew throughout that room. And, no one wanted to let him down because they knew he wasn't going to let anybody down on the team himself.
Colston was inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame in 2019. Now, let's welcome to the All-State Sugar Bowl's Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2022, Saints receiving grade Marcus Colston.
The only way that you can get rid of doubt is to outwork it, and that's what I set out to do. I kind of had this internal standard that I set for myself, and when you come in the league as a 7th round pick, there's not a lot of people on the bandwagon anyways. So that internal standard that I set, became the bar for me, it didn't really matter what was going on around me. That bar was kind of it for me. We got here in 2006. You kind of saw what was going on in the around you. You saw that people were trying to kind of figure it out and trying to get back on their feet. And you realized pretty early on that Saints football in this area, everything kind of stops for that 3 hours on Sunday. And again, early on you figure out that it means something. First and foremost, my beautiful wife and children here. My in-laws are here. My family has so much to do with my success. Like I said, when you're a 7th round pick, that was my bandwagon. Really, there's just so many people throughout the Saints organization, those that really know what it takes to play 10 years, the way that I played, the physicality that I played with, and really the physicality that people inflicted on me. Monday through Saturday was really a game of putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. And, there were so many people that came into my life at the right time. And I'm just truly humbled to have them as colleagues at the time, friends now. So you all know who you are, and I'm up here on the backs of a lot of great people.
Breezed through it. Colston caught it. Our next Hall of Fame inductee posthumously is Dillard basketball and Harlem Globetrotter great Billy Ray Hobley. Accepting is his daughter, Rachel Monique Hobley. Sweet Georgia Brown brings back memories of Meadowlark Lemon, Curly Neal, Sweet Lou Dunbar, and the Globetrotter who made New Orleans home, Billy Ray Hobley. Billy Ray grew up in Quincy, Florida, outside of Tallahassee. He had talent, was heavily recruited, and chose Dillard University, New Orleans. In 1975, Billy Ray averaged 22.6 a game and scored 612 points. Over a 99-game career with the Blue Devils, the 6'8" forward averaged nearly 15 a game and scored just under 1,500 career points. But on display always was his ball handling skills and backboard rattling dunks. And that, when combined with a fun personality and a love for people, made Hobley a perfect fit for the Globetrotters. Billy Ray and Mendon, Louisiana's Sweet Lou Dunbar became Globetrotters about the same time and were teammates for over 2 decades.
When we first got to training camp, man, we were beating everybody they put in front of us. We was killing them. Me and Billy, we was knocking them off. We had another kid out of Philly named Shake and Bake. We was knocking them off. And then we got ready to play Meadowlark, and those guys, they said, y'all better not win that one. So we only lost one.
In Billy Ray's 22 seasons, the Globetrotters would average over 250 shows a year and travel to over 120 countries. Billy Ray estimates his career miles were equivalent to traveling around the world 6 times with one goal in mind: be ambassadors of goodwill and bring smiles to the faces of everyone on every continent. In the 1996 tour of South Africa, they made Nelson Mandela an honorary Globetrotter. Mandela told them he could never measure up to what they did for the world. That's a compliment, Billy Ray would later say. And that's why the biggest names like Billy Ray earned the distinction Super Trotter.
You know, you see a Michael Jordan, you see a LeBron James, and you see a Billy Ray Hobley, and then you know there's never going to be another one like that because he's special. He has so much passion, man, and love for what he did. If there was a kid there, he was not going to leave that kid without getting him an autograph or a sweatband. He was going to teach that kid a trick. He always left the kid with a great memory. And his name should have been Passion because he had such a passion for the game. And before we go, I want to show you this. That's my guy right there. Super Trotter right there, baby, Billy Ray Hobley.
Hobley retired from the Globetrotters in 1998 and returned to Dillard, where soon after he was named head basketball coach, directing his Blue Devils to a conference championship. In 2001, he retired to spend time with family and work on his charity, the Billy Ray Hobley Ask Foundation, which focused on children's motivational programs. He passed away in July 2002 at the age of 48. Let's welcome posthumously to the All-State Sugar Bowls Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2022, Billy Ray Hobley.
I think he would be so overwhelmed. I think because he loved this city so much. You know, he was just a kid from Quincy, Florida, who had a dream to be a Harlem Globetrotter, and he made that possible. He met his love here. He had his children here. He had his organization here. He would just be overwhelmed with excitement. He was just Dad. He used to say, you know I'm a big deal, right? You know, like people.
That's him, yeah.
And I'm a big deal, and I would be like, so can you give me tickets to the Backstreet Boys? You know, how about NSYNC? And then all of a sudden, like next week, we pull up to this Superdome, and it was New Kids on the Block waiting for us. So, you know, that was the first time I was like, okay, I guess he is somebody. Well, he would acknowledge the love of his life, Maddie Hobley. He would acknowledge her and thank Dillard University, Dillard with his everything, and Kiki Baker Barnes. Kiki, I see you. Thank you so much. It means the world to us, everything you've done for us and the foundation and the Billy Ray Hobley Scholarship Fund at Dillard. And his family, the Hobley family, the Johnson family, and everybody who ever supported us and supported him, he would say thank you.
Thoughts of him today bring smiles to the faces of everyone. Our next Hall of Fame inductee is the quarterback that led Tulane to the great 98 undefeated season, Shawn King. When Shawn King came to Tulane from Gibbs High in St. Petersburg, Florida, Tulane had seen little success in 15 years, but with King, there was hope. King delivered, being the first freshman in Tulane history to pass for 1,000 yards. But 95 and 96 would be a series of near misses, including 0-8 in games decided by a touchdown or less. A coaching change brought in one of the famous names in college football, Tommy Bowden, who hired Rich Rodriguez to run a new offensive concept that would pave the way for change in Division I college football. Shawn King would run it.
Started looking at tape, you could see how accurate he was. And I knew to be successful, we were going to have to be on the cutting edge offensively. And to do that, it was going to have to be throwing the football. And Shawn just had a great skill. He was an exceptional player, just really gifted and a great leader. So he was really what we needed at that point in time.
King blossomed in 97, being named Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year, passing for 2,567 yards and 24 TDs and rushing for 511 and 5 more scores. That set the scene for 98 and an early test in Week 4 versus Southern Miss. Despite a week of hurricane evacuations and King playing with a fractured, non-throwing wrist, the defense forced 6 turnovers and Tulane won 21-7 to enter the top 25 polls. King and the offense dominated the rest of 98, scoring 40 or more points 7 straight games, including 72 against UL Lafayette and 63 over Louisiana Tech. Tulane won its first conference title since 1949. King completed 67% of his passes for 3,508 yards and 38 touchdowns, breaking his own single-season record, one of 8 he still holds today. His passer rating set an NCAA record, and he executed the read option to perfection, rushing for 641 yards and 11 scores. All told, King and the senior class flipped a 4-18 record their first 2 years to an 18-4 record as juniors and seniors, with the 19th win being the Liberty Bowl victory over BYU, which made 1998 great with an undefeated 12-0 perfect season for the ages. Tulane was ranked 7th nationally, and King finished 10th in the Heisman Trophy voting.
The burden of the success goes on the shoulders of the quarterback. And like I said, not only did he catapult Tulane football to the forefront and some national prestige, they had some skilled guys along with Sean, just really did some unique things offensively that was ahead of the time, and that was really not familiar to offensive college football.
His hometown Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafted him in the 2nd round, and as a rookie in 1999, Sean led the Bucs to a 10-6 record in the NFC title game. 3 years later, King earned his Super Bowl ring with the Bucs. Let's welcome to the All-State Sugar Bowl's Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2022, Sean King.
We knew this was it, because we had really good players.
Right.
You know, I thought maybe we were a little too traditional offensively in what we were doing before. You know, but Rich Rodriguez came in from Glenville State. Everybody knows who he is now, but back then he was a guy from a small school in West Virginia. And Tommy Boughton gave him the offense, and he gave us the keys to the offense, and, you know, he let us go out and really, really have fun playing the game of football. And, again, I got some of my teammates here. The buy-in, you know, was at an elite level. And so we took having fun and really wanting to be a champion, really wanting to be undefeated, and we manifested it. So the 4-18 years, we worked just as hard as we did the 12-0 year. And so for the group of guys that came in with me and subsequently followed me to take something that wasn't known nationally, that didn't have a history and tradition of achieving that level of success, to see our hard work pay off and get to experience it and realize it and see it manifest itself, not just in a championship, but in undefeated. I mean, that's extremely special, because you don't get that a lot in sports where you win all the games. I mean, it felt like it wasn't just Tulane, but it was the whole city of New Orleans that was having that success. So, I mean, that was a tremendous experience. Absolutely. I have my beautiful wife here, Faith. I have how many kids we got, baby? 4. My beautiful mother, Carolyn, is here. But my mother and my father, they never missed a home game in 4 years. This is an honest-to-God, true story. For 4 years, even when we weren't very good, they got in the car and they drove the 12 hours from Tampa to New Orleans. And that really showed me how to treat my kids, how to really show them that they have a support system. So, love you, baby.
King gave Tulane fans a memory for the ages. Our next Hall of Fame inductee is the University of New Orleans all-time shot-blocking leader, Carvey Upshaw.
In 1985, University of New Orleans women's basketball coach Joey Favaloro put the final piece to a puzzle in place for an NCAA tournament team. He out-recruited Florida State, and Georgia, and signed Florida phenom Carvey Upshaw to play at UNO.
The high school coach said, "You're the only one that really talked graduation and academics." So I said we wanted to develop spiritually, emotionally, physically, and just have a lot of fun playing the game. And I think that's what impressed the parents. She was almost a complete player coming out of high school. And that made it very easy to work right into our program and get us to where we wanted to go, NCAA tournament, NIT tournament, things like that.
Upshaw quickly earned freshman All-American honors in 1986, and by her sophomore season, she averaged a double-double, 18 points and just under 11 rebounds a game. The team, then known as the Buckettes, cruised to a 25-7 record and their first and still only appearance in the NCAA tournament.
We had the forwards, we had the guards, we had experience. Like I said, 4 juniors started with her when she was a freshman. And so for her to step in with it, we asked a lot of her, and she delivered, and she was a very special player.
As a junior, Upshaw led UNO to another 25-win season and a women's NIT bid, one of only 2 WNIT appearances in program history. Carvey was named Honorable Mention All-American. As a senior, Upshaw was a third-team All-American. Carvey Upshaw is UNO's all-time leader in 3 statistical categories. She is tops in rebounds with 1,124, in blocks with 492, and in triple doubles with 3. Upshaw is second in field goals and field goal percentage and third in career scoring with 1,759 points, averaging 14.8 points per game. In her 4 seasons, Upshaw led the Privateers to 82 victories, which is the best 4-year stretch in program history. Upshaw went on to play professionally overseas and became the first female to play in the all-male Polish League, and she will be remembered as one of the best ever to play women's basketball at UNO.
I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with her for 4 years. I feel very blessed that we had her in our program. She meant a lot to our program. In fact, like I said, she set the standard. So when we would recruit from this point forward, we'd say, can they play like Carvey? Can they do this like Carvey? So she set the standard. It was very, very important to our program.
Let's welcome to the All-State Sugar Bowl's Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2022, the University of New Orleans women's basketball great, Carvey Upshaw.
We had a really good team, and they taught this spoiled brat who came from Tampa how to get out of her head, how to get out of herself and just play the game. And that's what I did. I didn't want to let my team down. So I did, I learned from what they were telling me.
And you blocking shots. Looked like you enjoyed that.
I did. That was my favorite part as well. I wasn't really aware of the points scored. I was more of a defensive player. So I thought that was all that I had to do was defense. And I did it well.
Any particular people you want to acknowledge?
My parents, my sisters, my friends, my teammates, my coaching staff, everybody. You guys for broadcasting us, because, women's basketball, women's sports seems to kind of take a back seat when there's men's sports around, and you guys kept us in the limelight.
A great talent, sparkling personality. Our final Hall of Fame inductee posthumously helped break the Major League Baseball color barrier. He's from right here in New Orleans. John Wright, his daughter Carlos Robinson accepting.
After the Brooklyn Dodgers signed Jackie Robinson to break Major League Baseball's color barrier in 1945, the next player they signed was from right here in New Orleans, Louisiana. John Wright attended Hoffman and McDonough 35 schools, and in 1936 began his baseball career with the New Orleans Zulus. By 1943, he was pitching for a team regarded as one of the greatest in the history of the game, black or white. The Negro National League's Homestead Grays had 5 players now in the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. Josh Gibson, Buck Leonard, Judd Wilson, Ray Brown, and Cool Papa Bell. With John Wright on the mound, they produced one of the greatest seasons in Negro League history. At only 170 pounds, Wright had an assortment of breaking pitches, a hellacious fastball, and great control. The man nicknamed Needle Nose was dominant in exhibition wins over all-white teams filled with major leaguers. He pitched before 51,000 in the East-West All-Star Game at Chicago's Comiskey Park. John Wright was the winning pitcher in 2 of the Grays' 4 wins in the 1943 World Series. For the season, he finished with a record of 26-4, one of the best single seasons on the mound in Negro League history. While serving in the Navy, he pitched for the Great Lakes Naval Club and compiled a 23-6 mark, with the lowest earned run average in the armed forces. After the war, as part of a Negro League All-Star team at Ebbets Field, Wright held the Dodgers to 2 hits in 5 innings. The Dodgers noticed and signed Wright on January 29, 1946, 3 months after signing Jackie Robinson. both players who were assigned to the Dodgers' Montreal farm team. Robinson flourished, Wright struggled, and was released. He returned to the Homestead Grays in 1948, helping them to another Negro League World Series title over the Black Barons. As agents of social change, John Wright and the rest of the initial wave of African Americans into organized white baseball faced enormous obstacles. Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro League Baseball Museum, states, "It rarely had to do with talent, but more so with having to deal with the immense social pressure they were confronted with." The fact that Johnny Wright was selected to be with Jackie in Montreal says what kind of player he was. Not making it to the majors does not diminish what he gave to this game. John Wright died in 1990 in Jackson, Mississippi. Please welcome, posthumously, to the All-State Sugar Bowl's Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2022, baseball great, John Wright.
He was such a laid-back, low-keyed person. He would probably just kind of be like, wow, I can't believe that you've done this. You hear the stories, you see the movies about what it was like back then. Until I've done the research, I really didn't understand. Those times, I just can't even imagine. You had to have a love of the game. You had to. I can only imagine that he had hoped to be called back to the majors, but he didn't disappear. He went back, he won games, he won pendants, championships, and moved on with his life. So when he retired, he put it behind him. I'm the only living child, but there are grandchildren here, there are great-grandchildren here, other family members, friends that have traveled as far as Michigan, I believe, is the farthest. And there are actually 40 of us here today.
Wow. Your dad, because he didn't make the major leagues, some people would say, why would he get in the Hall of Fame? Well, he was a great pitcher in the Negro Leagues. He had a great pitching career. He belongs in anybody's Hall of Fame because he had to go through what Jackie Robinson had to go through, too, even if he didn't make it. He had to go through the same thing, and because of what he did is the reason why the rest of us can do the things that we can do now.
Right. He did make his mark.
Yeah.
It was just kind of pushed to the side, but now we're placing him back where he needs to be in the history books. And I'm very appreciative of the committee for electing him.
What a great story. Once again, congratulations to Ashley Brignac, Marcus Colston, Billy Ray Hobley, Sean King, Carvey Upshaw, and John Wright, the 2022 class of the Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame. The Corbett Award was created in 1967 to honor the late James J. Corbett, the former athletics director at LSU. The award is presented every year, one each, to the top male and female athletes in the state of Louisiana. The Corbett has been presented to 19 NFL players, 9 major leaguers, 4 NBA greats, including 2 Hall of Famers, 3 WNBA players, and 11 Olympians, including 8 gold medal winners. This is a great honor, and this year's winners are just as impressive. The James J. Corbett winner for the outstanding male athlete in the state of Louisiana is Loyola Basketball's NAIA National Player of the Year, Zach Reitzel. National champions and National Player of the Year. That's Zach Reitzel, who led the Loyola Wolfpack to their first national championship in 77 years and put up numbers that will stand the test of time. He also earned NAIA National Player of the Year honors. The first-team All-American kept his focus in a Hurricane Ida-ravaged season with multiple distractions, including no home court to play or practice on. Reitzel focused and averaged 18.7 points while shooting 62%. He was a force both ways with 8.8 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and 2.1 steals a game. He set Loyola school records for most points with 709, rebounds 334, and assists 480. He ranks second in steals and fifth in blocks. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. When the Wolfpack needed a boost, Zach Reitzel provided it, as he did with a double-double in the national championship game. 19 points on 8 of 12 shooting, those 12 rebounds, and he added 4 assists and 5 steals. The Texas product and 3-time All-American was named for the very first time, first-team All-America, and of course, the NAIA National Player of the Year. Very special honors to complement the national championship season. The All-State Sugar Bowl's James J. Corbett Award for the outstanding male amateur athlete in the state of Louisiana is Loyola Basketball's Zach Reitzel.
It's an incredible honor. I read all the different people that have got this award. A lot of Hall of Famers, a lot of greats. So I'm proud to be in this type of company. In high school, I'm playing a wing position, and out of nowhere, I get a call from Coach Stacey Hollowell, and he's telling me about wanting to make me a point guard in college, and I was like, what? Like I've never played point guard in my entire life. Like I don't even think I'm capable of this. And he was like, I want to make you a point guard. I believe you can be a point guard, and I want you to come play for me. And shoot, he believed in me when I didn't even believe in me. So ultimately making that decision and coming down here and becoming a point guard, that was crazy for me. This past season was the most unique season I've ever had, and for obvious reasons. But the reasons that a lot of people don't know also, from Hurricane Ida, us losing our gym, that was huge. So, but just the whole national championship run, going 37-1, that was an incredibly unique situation that we were in.
Want to acknowledge anyone in particular?
First, my family, my mom and my dad, and my team, my coach, coaching staff, everybody. That's it, though.
Zach will play his 5th year at Marquette. Just as impressive is the James J. Corbett winner for the outstanding female athlete in Louisiana, who is also a national champion and a member of the U.S. national team, LSU hurdler from right here in New Orleans, Aaliyah Armstrong. At St. Catherine Drexel Prep in New Orleans, Aaliyah Armstrong set and still holds prep records in the 100, 300, and 4x400 events. Now as a sophomore at LSU, she's a national champion. On June the 11th in Eugene, Oregon, at the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships, Aaliyah Armstrong ran a 12.57. Remember that number, 12.57 seconds in rainy conditions in the 100-meter hurdles to win the national championship. From the starting gun, Armstrong blasted out of the blocks, was first over the first hurdle, and never slowed down. It was the first time Armstrong, who also won the SEC title, ever ran in the rain, which didn't bother her one bit. She followed that performance with a 3rd place in the same event at the United States Track and Field Championships, which includes professionals like former LSU James J. Corbett Award winner Aaliyah Hobbs. A 3rd place finish there earned Aaliyah Armstrong a slot on Team USA for the World Track and Field Championships. This championship was important to Aaliyah because it was her first, and she wasn't her best a few months earlier at the indoor meet when she knew she had it in her, because she already had clocked the wind-aided 12.33 at the Texas Relays in late March, which was the fastest time in collegiate history under all conditions. So this title proved her speed to be that of a champion, which helped the LSU women to a 4th place finish. Congratulations to the All-State Sugar Bowl's James J. Corbett Award winner as the outstanding female amateur athlete in the state of Louisiana, LSU's track star, Aaliyah Armstrong.
I knew initially going in here it wasn't going to be a college stage, and my mom always taught me that no matter who you step on the line next to, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And I wanted to teach the young women and the young men as well that no matter who you think can beat you or can play better than you or can ball better than you, you have it in you as well, and you can conquer anything in life. And that's something that she taught me growing up. So I wanted to pay that forward to the younger generation and just tell people that you can do it all as long as you put your mind to it and just stay focused.
You are the national collegiate champion in your event, the 100-meter hurdles.
Yes, it's a complete honor, and I don't take that as I don't take that as something light, because I've always wanted to make my mom proud because she sacrificed everything for me and my sister growing up. For a long time, she was a single mother, and she would get us food, and she would basically just eat our scraps. And so I wanted to make sure that she never had to struggle again. She put herself on the back burner to make sure that her kids had, and that's something that I will never forget, and I will hold into my heart until the day I die. So
I'm not sure that people realize, how big a deal that award is.
This was something that I always dreamed of, but I never expected it to come this quick because I'm so young. I'm only 21 years old. And I always, when I was a little girl, I would look on TV and be like, oh my gosh, Mom, that's Alton Felix, and that's Shaquille O'Neal. And I just see his name on the list, and mine is literally a few years after. And I'm just I'm one of those athletes that really change the dynamic of what sports should look like, and it's an absolute honor, and I'm so happy. I'm just thankful for the village that brought me here and the coaches and my family and everybody, because without them I would be nothing.
And she's only a sophomore. Congratulations, Aaliyah and Zach, to all of our Hall of Famers and all the award winners. Thanks again to the All-State Sugar Bowl for their support of this event, and for the All-State Sugar Bowl, our Hall of Fame Committee and Awards Committee, and WLAE-TV. I'm Ken Berthelot. Thank you for watching.